Welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Cubitos. This is a 2 to 4 player dice rolling pool building racing game where you take the role of cube creatures. You will be rolling dice, and gaining fans, trying to cross the finish line and win the game. As soon as you cross the finish line, that signals the final round, and at the end of the round, the player furthest past the finish line wins. Now that we know what the winning condition is, let's take a look at the components, setup, and how gameplay works in Cubitos. Now let's take a look at the components. You have double-sided racetrack boards, you have the start line and a finish line, spaces for you to move on, water spaces which you cannot pass through, rewards in some of the spaces. These allow you to draw more dice based on how many of these lines you are behind the leader. Fan lines, or the red lines, and the name is at the top. Fan track. On the fan track you have rewards, ability cards. On each of the ability cards you have a depiction, the name, the cost to buy a die, the ability, and then the die faces, ability dice, boxes. In each player color you have a player board. On the player board you have sections for draw, roll, active, and discard. Runner figure, start player die, starting dice in light gray and dark gray, draw tokens, credit tokens in 1 and 5, phase tokens, a rule summary, and finally your rule book. Now let's take a look at the setup. We're going to be setting this up for a 3-player game which takes 6 steps. Step 1, get player components. Choose a color and get the corresponding runner figures and player board. Then get 1 phase token, 7 light gray and 2 dark gray starting dice. You'll place the player board in the center of your player area with the starting dice in the draw area, and you'll place the phase token green side up next to your player board. Step 2, select ability card set. Choose a set of ability cards. For your first game, it is recommended to use Race 1. Step 3, set up the racetrack. Choose a racetrack. It is recommended for your first game to use Nothing Goes Right. You'll place the racetrack in the center of the play area with 1 runner from each player on the start space. You'll place the fan track next to the racetrack with 1 runner from each player on the bleacher area. Then you'll place the ability cards around the racetrack. Step 4, set up dice trays. You'll place the dice boxes upside down so they form trays, and you'll place them next to their corresponding ability card with the matching dice in the tray. Then you'll place the unused gray dice next to the board. Step 5, token trays. Place the 4 boxes upside down for token trays next to the main board. And then you'll create pools for credits and draw tokens. Step 6, determine the start player. Select a player at random and place the start player die in their roll zone. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. A game consists of a number of rounds until a player crosses the finish line. This will depend on the number of laps that you have determined. It is recommended for 1 lap for your first game. A round. A round consists of 2 phases, the roll phase and the run phase. Now let's look at each phase in detail. Phase 1, the roll phase. Players will simultaneously take 3 steps. Step 1, draw. You will move a number of dice from your draw area to your roll area. This number is equal to your draw amount. At the start of the game, you can draw 9 dice. Keep in mind that when your draw dice run out, you would move all of your discarded dice back to the draw area. The start player will roll the start player bonus die, and it does not count against their draw amount. Step 2, roll. Roll all the dice in your roll area. Step 3, move hits and push or pass. You'll move hits to your active zone. Then you may either push and roll again, or stop and pass. Once you have 3 dice in your active area, if you push or roll again and roll all misses, then you would bust. If you happen to bust, you'll move all of your active dice to your discard. You may move any number from your roll zone to your discard and advance your runner 1 space on the fan track. Then you would gain any draw or credit tokens indicated for that space. Keep in mind that the fan track will add permanently to your draw number, whereas the number of red lines behind the leader will add temporarily to your draw number, equal to the number of red lines. Once you pass, you will flip your phase token over. Once all the players have flipped their phase token over, we move to phase 2, the run phase. Simultaneously, players will complete 4 steps in order. Step 4, use abilities, resolve effects, and determine money and movement. Players will use their run abilities and any abilities in their active zone and determine their money and movement. Step 5, move. For every movement, you would move 1 space. You can also spend money or credits to move in a 4-to-1 ratio, so 4 money or credits to move 1 space. Keep in mind that movement is not blocked and you do not have to use the full move amount, and you would get the reward where you stopped moving. Step 6, buy. Spend money and credits to buy new dice. Money not spent is lost at the end of the round, but credits will carry over. You can buy up to 2 dice each round, and they cannot be the same color. And the dice would go to your discard area. Step 7, discard. You would discard all of your active dice, and the roll zone dice would stay. Then you would flip your phase marker over, pass the start player die clockwise, and begin the next round. Keep in mind that water cannot be moved into. For reward spaces, a flag would gain you 1 fan on the fan track. A lose would lose a die. A gain would gain any die. A gain and cost is a free die less than or equal to that cost. A shortcut with cost is a payment to use the shortcut. And a jetpack is a double move. Then rounds would continue until a player crosses the finish line. When a player crosses the finish line, that triggers the last round. At the end of that round, the player that is the furthest across the finish line is the winner of the Cube Cup and wins Cubitos.